All right. So as I mentioned in Ross, can you see the screen?
Nope, I just see you.
Oh, that's not much. You know, the problem with teaching online is that there are entirely too many different intricacies.
Yep.
Okay. Now, what do you see, Ross?
PowerPoint.
Perfect. All right. So, as I was mentioning, in chapter 6, we're going to talk about two major different things. This first part that we're going to talk about today is mapping out your academic plans. We're going to talk about what does general education program classes mean and everything else in terms of your academic pathway towards being successful. The second part of chapter 6, which we'll get into on Wednesday, talks about further discussions about your career and career interests. And as you know, this has been a continuous theme that we've talked about throughout this entire semester. All right, so in this first part, we're talking about academic options. So based off of what you read for today, what does academic options mean? Academic options, what does that mean? Academic options. What does that mean?
Anybody?
No one knows what academic options is?
From what I see in the book, is it the different kinds of majors one can take? And it
Okay, good. So different types of majors that you can take. Good job, Zach. Blake, what are academic options?
It looks like his audio is still trying to connect.
Oh, yeah. Alexia. Alexia, academic options.
I'm not too sure of it.
Yes, take a guess. So Zach already said one thing. Zach said that it's thinking about the type of classes. So what else based off of the reading?
Probably the different academic routes that you could take, probably like undergrad or like graduate school, like stuff like that.
Okay, good. So the various different routes that you can take in terms of thinking about your undergraduate career as well as graduate school. Excellent job. Lars, academic options.
Uh, could I also include like co-curricular activities?
Absolutely. Excellent job, Lars. So co-curricular activities, co-curricular involvement. Good job. And so this first piece when we're talking about academic options is creating an academic plan. And so when we think about an academic plan, it really involves mapping out when you're going to complete all of your academic requirements needed for graduation, as well as identifying the very important additional co-curricular activities that you're going to participate in. Now, the benefit of being in SLS 1501 this semester is that you've already started thinking critically about what your academic plan will be and could be. And you have a clear understanding that throughout your time here at UCF, that pathway or that plan may not always be 100% stable. We know that we're going to encounter all different types of challenges and barriers, as well as successes that's going to inhibit as well as support our academic pathway towards success. Furthermore, we talked in depth about co-curricular involvement. Just shout them out. What are some examples of co-curricular activities?
internships.
Yes.
Greek life.
Keep going.
Club sports.
Yes. What else?
Clubs that develop professionalism.
Absolutely. And by doing that co-curricular activity worksheet, you just didn't stay Well, I want to get an internship. You identified where you wanted to get the internship. You've already identified what are the credentials, what are the requirements, what are the admission requirements for me to get that internship. And so you have a clear understanding of the various different types of things that you can add to your resume that's going to ensure your success. So this academic plan helps you plan your degree, as well as it helps you plan out and understand your various different graduation requirements. Now, just out of curiosity, how many of you are familiar with Pegasus Path or have used Pegasus Path?
I think I've heard of it.
I've used it a little bit.
Okay. Sarah, how has Pegasus Path helped you? And maybe explain what is Pegasus Path.
It helps you like figure out what you need to do for your future classes and like what path you want to do in order to like get your classes in order.
Yeah, absolutely. So Pegasus Path is still a very new tool that we have here at UCF, but it's a nice tool because as soon as you log in, it's going to populate whatever major that we have for you in the system. And then it's going to tell you exactly what classes you need to take every single semester up until the time you graduate, as well as every co-curricular involvement you should get involved in related to your major. So I'll provide the link for Pegasus Path in the announcements as well. So,
Excuse me?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off. But could I change my major through Pegasus Path without an advisor, or do I need like an advisor to do that?
I think you can change your major within UCF.
Okay.
Well, what's your current major, and what would you be changing it to?
Undecided engineer to civil engineer.
Okay. Yeah, I think you can do that in UCF, but because it's still within engineering, what I would do is just go to the engineering website and do a virtual advising appointment and just make sure if you don't need any type of approval or anything. But I'm pretty sure you can change your major within UCF.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So mapping helps you see what you need to take in the various different courses and sequences for the various different courses that you have to take here at UCF. Now, there are numerous different benefits with connecting with an advisor, or, well, let's remove the mentor part from that. Let's just say let's just focus on the benefits of having an academic advisor. What would be some of those benefits of having an academic advisor? What can they do for you?
They have a lot of experience with other students, so they would be able to guide you better based on what you need.
Absolutely. And so that academic advisor is the expert. And so that person can help guide you, place you on the right pathway to ensure you're selecting the right classes that's going to count towards graduation. Good job, Iman. What else?
You can ask them like any questions that you may have about anything relating to your classes.
Yes, and so typically, sometimes, the professors can be very knowledgeable, particularly in the major, about what courses and what course sequences that you should take. But the benefit of an academic advisor is that they're also your soundboard. So that academic advisor is also going to look at your overall sort of plan. They're going to look at all the courses that you take, all the different things that you're involved in, and that advisor can help connect you to ensure that you're on the right track towards graduation. So other benefits are they can help you determine your interests, values, and abilities. Advisors can also assist in identifying possible career pathways. And so several of you may still be undecided, and that's okay. But if you're undecided, keep in mind, it is now the month of April. Hopefully you've utilized this semester and previous semesters, if this is not your first semester here, to identify what type of major that you want to go into. The biggest thing about selecting a major is that you want to think about what's my career interest? And again, this is not new. We've been talking about this all semester. But what is that interest? Something that when you think about it, really for the rest of your lives, What's that career interest, that job that you're going to want to go to every single day, 8 hours a 8 hours a day, 5 or 6 days out of the week. So that advisor can help you identify various different possible career paths. Also provides you to the resources, inform you of various different opportunities, and as well as providing encouragement and expanding that network of possibility. All of this is not new to you. These are all things that we've been talking about this entire semester. So why is meeting with an academic advisor important?
Well, I mean, I'm meeting with mine today to pick out my new major as well as my class schedule for spring and fall.
Hey, me too,
Oh,
bro.
I'm sorry, for summer and fall.
Yeah, so Brandon and Schuler both are meeting with their advisors today to help pick out their summer classes, fall classes. Good. Why else is another important reason for meeting with the academic advisor?
Their information's more reliable than just getting something from a friend.
Absolutely. So 100%, Brandon. So a lot of times, we as students will listen to our friends, and our friends will say, oh, you should take this class, or oh, don't take this class with that professor. The problem with listening to our friends is that our friends are not the expert, and our friends could actually be sending us off. And so it's always important to listen to that trusted expert who knows the UCF catalog, who knows, the various different sequence of classes. And it's important to keep in mind that all of your course sequences are different. So you could have a friend that's in the exact same major as you, and it could have started here at UCF the exact same semester as you. But all of you have different pathways towards your degree progression. And so again, always listen to that advisor. So as we've already mentioned, they can assist with course selection. They also ensure that courses will count towards credit and graduation requirements. Now, Ryan found that students who met with their advisor regularly were more likely to continue in college and perform better academically. Well, this is no surprise because many students who sit up here and they don't talk to an advisor or they don't utilize the resources, those are the very students who are likely to get placed on probation at the end of this semester or are likely to be disqualified at the end of this semester. So meeting with academic advisors will help keep you on track. Again, you can think of it as a gatekeeper. That academic advisor is the one who's going to do the check marks for you. They're going to say, okay, you've done this requirement. You're on track. We ourselves as students, we have access to this information and we can clearly see through papers and online documents, am I on the right track? But that academic advisor is the expert and they know various different things that we don't know that will ensure that we're being successful. And too often, students rely on information from their peers rather than those campus experts. So it's very important to understand what is needed to graduate, as well as understanding the curriculum can help you make good registration choices. So when you're thinking about understanding the curriculum requirements, again, we talked about this the first week of class, or the second week of class. You just didn't end up here at UCF. You did things in the interim throughout high school to get to this point. And the same applies during your time here at UCF. You're just not going to graduate from UCF. You want to do things over the next 3.5, 4 years that's going to ensure that you're laying that pathway towards success. So typically when we think about curriculum requirements, we're thinking about what are the courses that we need to take in order to progress. And so here at UCF, there are multiple different categories when we talk about your degree requirements. And so if you look at the top of this chart, you see the term degree requirement. Within those degree requirements here at UCF are 3 categories of things that you have to complete in order to graduate from UCF. Ross, what is the graduation credit hour? Is it 120 hours?
Yep, I believe so.
120 hours, thank you. And so the first, actually I have another slide that will explain this, but the first one is core or general education requirements. And then you have your major requirements, and then you have minor requirements or free electives. I'm going to explain this all on the next slide. So this first piece of this is the degree requirements, which consist of those 3 components. The general education, which here at UCF we call the General Education Program, GEP. And then these are all courses that students must take regardless of the major. And your general education program type courses are your standard categories. So this is communication, math, sciences, social science, humanities. It's any type of course, but the thing about general education program courses is that everyone here at UCF must take all of these various different general education program courses. Now, taking classes in various fields and viewing the world through multiple different perspectives helps you to become a critical thinker. So I was a student myself. I know my freshman year, sophomore year, I had to do similar things, general education classes. And in my head, I'll be sitting, why do I need to take mathematics? Like, I'm not a math major. Why do I need to take botany? I could care less about plants. Those are all general education program classes. But here is a harsh reality. While I don't like botany and while I don't like mathematics, the irony is that in my present life, in my work life, I reflect on many of those general education program classes that I learned during my freshman and sophomore year. So a lot of times we may think, why do I have to do a GEP class? It has nothing to do with my major. That's the why. Because later in your career, you will, it's not going to be, do you have to, you will connect various different general education program classes to your future career. So liberal arts education has been found to positively connect to lifelong learning, intercultural effectiveness, as well as the ability to be a leader, as well as overall well-being. All right, so the general education program, again, math, science, any type of class that will be part of the GEP. Also within that, and you all should be familiar with this from the advising presentation we had early in the semester. Within that, you also have diamond requirements and Gordon rule requirements and writing requirements. Make sure you reference the documents as you're selecting your courses, as well as talking to your advisor about what counts. That second component is major requirements. Major requirements are courses and other requirements that are needed for graduation. This other requirement part is important because sometimes we may recognize that, okay, this is my major and these are the courses that I have to take. But there are many majors here at UCF where there are other types of requirements, like required internships, or required study abroad experiences, or required clinical hours, or required volunteer hours, or required service learning hours. All of these different things you'll see, and I'm also going to send you another link so you'll be able to see all the different requirements. But all of these additional requirements are needed in order to graduate. So when we say, you need 120 hours minimum to graduate from UCF, and a minimum, for example, GPA of a 3.0, there could be other requirements that you have to do in order to meet the graduation requirement. And then finally, you can obtain a minor. So you can declare a minor in any subject. So for example, if you are an engineering major and you really like English, well, you can minor in English. You don't have to minor in anything, but minoring is something that you can do. Ross, are you familiar with the minor, like the process of doing a minor?
Yep, I have a minor. I'm a health sciences minor. All the minor really is you're taking extra credits under your minor. For the most part, it's the same thing as any major, where you can look up the course. I forget what they call it, the thing that shows you all the classes that you have to take, and it's just like taking a much smaller major. And you can request a minor, or I think that's what it's called, requesting a minor, the same way you do on my UCF, where you request a major.
And you can also double major. Now, a lot of times students will say, oh, I'm going to double major. The thing you have to keep in mind about being a double major is that you're completing the requirements for 2 academic majors. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's something that you have to keep in mind, is that you'll be doing 2 majors at the same time. Not impossible, but not required. Any questions about degree requirements? Anything unclear? Go ahead.
I was wondering where we could find the degree requirements. I know they're on the UCF website, I assume, but which website or which part of the website?
Yes. If you go to Google and put in like major degree requirements UCF, try that. But I'm also going to post a link in the announcements as well.
Yeah, they update course catalogs per semester. So if you have a specific major, like you know where the major is, you can really look it up at UCF, and UCF's partnered with Google. So it'll auto come up, and then it'll just show you everything you need to do.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brandon. Other questions about degree requirements? Now, also keep in mind that all of you, I don't require this in SLS 1501, but all of you should be scheduling those meetings with academic advisors, because as Brandon and Schuler mentioned earlier, registration for summer and fall classes is about to start. And so you want to make sure that you are meeting with your advisor so that they can confirm that the classes that you're enrolling in are going to count towards the major, as well as cross-check anything else. Now, when we're selecting different types of courses, there are different types of courses that may have a prerequisite. Based off of what you read for today, what is the prerequisite type course? What does that mean?
It's a course that you have to take that's like required for you to take before you can get into a major, right?
Excellent job, Jasmine. So a prerequisite type course are courses that you must take before you can take the desired course. So what would be some examples of prerequisite type courses?
You have to take Calculus 1 before Calculus 2 and 3.
Absolutely. So in order to take Calculus 2, you have to take Calculus 1. What would be another example?
You have to take general psychology before you can take any other psychology course.
Excellent. Yes. So a good key here when we're thinking about prerequisites is that in your major type courses, in order to get to those sometimes 2,000, but mainly 3,000 level, 4,000 level courses, you have to do a prerequisite course, which typically is going to be a 1,000 level course or a 2,000 level course, and you must get a certain grade in that class. Typically, it could be a B or a C in order to take the next level of course. Good job. Now, what is a co-requisite?
Isn't a co-requisite a class you should take alongside this course, like a lab, for example?
Excellent. So co-requisites are courses that you'll take before or at the same time as the desired course. So what would be some examples of co-requisite type courses? And keeping in mind that these are courses that you're doing at the same time.
Some of my classes have lab sections, so that could be considered a co-requisite course.
Absolutely. And so if any of you are in biology, for example, you might have a biology lecture, a biology discussion, and a biology lab, or engineering lecture and an engineering lab, or any other type of course where there could be 2 or 3 different courses that are all the same. So co-requisite are courses that you take at the exact same time. And so the various different prerequisite and co-requisites, you'll find all that information in the course catalog, as well as the course descriptions in my UCF. Lama said the SLS class has this, I think. Yes, there are some SLS classes that have prerequisites and co-requisites as well. Not this one, but some do. Reading the chats. Oh, the introduction to library research. Yes, that would be a co-requisite type course, Lama. Good job. Okay, so understanding excess hour surcharges. Does anyone know what excess hours mean? Excess hours? Ross, do you know what excess hours is?
Yeah, that's when you go above your 120 hours.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with what excess hours are, you want to become familiar with what excess hour surcharges are. The beauty about being in the state of Florida is that you have beautiful weather every single day. Rossi, you know it has not rained in weeks here. Yeah. There's a drought. But nonetheless, you have beautiful weather here in Florida. The bad thing about being a college student in the state of Florida is that we have this concept called excess hour surcharges. Excess hour surcharges encourages you to complete your bachelor's degree as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So what that means is that if you continuously change your major, so say for example, you have a major this year, and you say, you know what, at the end of this semester, I'm going to change my major to something else. Then you start taking classes your sophomore year, and you say, you know what, I'm going to change my major again. That can result in excess hour surcharges because, as Ross mentioned, if you go over that 120-hour cap, they're going to start charging you a surcharge. The amount of the surcharge, as well as the number of credit hours allowed, really depends. And you have to keep in mind that if you declare a minor or you double major, you might be impacted by the excess hour surcharges. Now, I will say that for the most part, many students don't get impacted by excess hour surcharges. You really won't see it your freshman year, sophomore year. This becomes more of a concern your junior year or senior year, depending upon the courses that you take, as well as if you have been changing your major multiple different times. Now, I do want to footnote, there are some majors that have a higher surcharge number, a higher surcharge hour number. Engineering, for example, education. Both of these majors have more than, you have to earn the degree is more than 120 hours. And so that surcharge doesn't hit until it's a higher number. I don't know what the number is off the top of my head. So some of these majors like engineering and education, they're still included, but that 120 number is higher. I encourage you all to read more about excess hours, just so that you're aware that this is a policy here at UCF. Questions about excess hour surcharges? Ask it now because I can tell you some advisors are not going to even discuss it with you.
So if I'm double majoring, So
Yeah.
if that, like, is that a negative thing that's gonna happen? Like, am I gonna have to pay more money because I'm double majoring?
No, I wouldn't say that. So the nice thing about double majoring, dependent, is if the major is in the same area, we'll say the same college, for example. Many of those classes within both majors probably count and likely do count for both degrees. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, you really only get into the excess hours really if you change major. So if you
Okay.
now if you change your major in the same college or within the same track, as long as the courses are similar or the same, you wouldn't have to worry about that. It's really
Okay.
excess hours is really a bigger impact for those who change their major from engineering. I'm only using engineering as an example. From engineering, and then they'll go into sociology. Well, if you think about it, the track for engineering would be completely different than the track for sociology. And so depending upon when a student changed their major from engineering to sociology, they might essentially have to start over again. And they may have already earned 30 credit hours, which will count toward the degree. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
You're welcome. Other questions about excess hour surcharges?
What if students just love learning and just want to take more classes to learn more?
Zach, that is a very good question. And I applaud that. That is a wonderful thing. Unfortunately, again, this is the negative to being a college student in the state of Florida is that you can take all the classes that you want as long as it does not exceed, the 120 hours. But I did not talk about this. This is where your elective credit hours come in. And so many majors have elective credit hours and they vary. So some majors may have 3 credit hours. Some majors may have 12 elective hours. And so those elective hours is where you can try out different types of classes and learn.
Couldn't you also use your like clubs and extracurricular activities as learning opportunities?
Absolutely. And that's an excellent connection, Jasmine. And so that's the hope is that as students, that's what we hope here at UCF is that as students, you do utilize clubs and internships and jobs to get that practical learning experience. Hopefully you've seen, from our various different in-class conversations that being in class is wonderful, but being in class is only going to teach you the material. Actually going to the job, getting an internship, that's where you're going to actually learn the day-to-day operations of what it means to be whatever field that you want to go into. 2 different things. Good connection, Desmond. Any other questions about this? All right. Online courses. Ross, at the beginning of the semester, you would have never told me that we would be in an online class.
Yes, dude.
So, you all are experts at this now because you're living it as we speak. So when we think about online coursework, there are 2 different types of online coursework. So the first is synchronous or synchronously, and that's exactly what we're doing right now. We still meet Mondays and Wednesdays from 12:30 until 1:45. You have assignments, projects, synchronously. Everything is the same. But some of you may also be in asynchronous classes. And asynchronous classes mean that your professor, for example, may post all the information online. Some of your professors may did that this semester once we move to remote instruction. They may have posted all their lectures, all their video captions, every assignment, every exam, and said, You have until April 20th to complete everything. Let me know if you have any questions. That would be asynchronous. The challenge with asynchronous type online courses is that you're not together at the same time. So unlike synchronous, which is occurring right now, while I recognize that some of you may have technical difficulties or whatever type of difficulties that may prohibit you from being successful in an online class, I'm still here supporting you. We're still together right now. In an asynchronous type course, you're out there to fend for yourself. Everything could be posted. The professor may say, I'm going to have office hours, but you're out there alone. Ross, what has your experience been in online classes?
I've probably had a couple of each, synchronous and asynchronous. And asynchronous really requires you to be a lot more disciplined or self-disciplined in order to stay on top of your work and make sure you're getting it all done. Because a lot of us, me included, look ahead thinking that due dates are much farther away than they actually are. And as they start creeping up, we realize we haven't done them, and then it gets a lot harder to get them done. So being able to keep a schedule and staying on top of those tasks is a lot harder in asynchronous courses. But for your synchronous courses, it'll be very similar to a like an in-person lecture, just without the in-person. So you're still doing weekly assignments and stuff like that. But yeah, so Zoom classes are a little bit different than a normal online class because you wouldn't get that in a normal online class. So there's a little give and take in each of them.
Now, just throw some things out there. You have now been in remote or online classes for the past 2 weeks. How is that going for you? Honestly. Struggling, easier, challenging?
I think for me, the hardest is doing a lot of the final assignments that for some of my courses, like we had debates in the class and now it's switched to PowerPoints with a lot of dialogue typed in the notes instead of discussing in person. So it just kind of makes already somewhat difficult assignments even more difficult.
Absolutely. And so, the challenge is that in a face-to-face class, it's easier to connect with the professor. It's easier to complete assignments like a debate or group-centered projects. But in an online mode, it's more difficult. And I can tell you, many of your professors likely, because it's no longer face-to-face, may have made assignments more difficult because it's online. Sometimes when classes are taught online, the professor's expectations are higher than being in a face-to-face class. Thanks for bringing that up, Brandon. Anybody else struggling, good things about being in online classes this semester?
Well, for me, it's like, I like being around people. I'm a people person, so like not being able to see anyone, like not even being able to see friends, especially because of the virus, like it's really hard for me to have everything online. But at least we have this little face-to-face kind of thing going with this video thing.
Yes, absolutely. And so, if you're like me, when I was a student, excelled in face-to-face. I thoroughly enjoyed going to class. I enjoyed physically talking to people, physically, going to Chick-fil-A before a class and, all the physical things. But the challenge with this new normal that we have now is that, we can't be around anybody. And so now we have to adjust to online learning and still keeping that same level of interaction just online. But yes, I agree, Jasmine. Let's take one more. Anybody else challenge?
Yeah, it's kind of like hard to do work. Usually when I come home, like around here, just like I relax. But now, like I have nowhere to go in like private, like to the library all night study. So I'm hearing my parents and my sister all day. So
Yes, and thank you for sharing that, Justin. Um, I recognize, and I will say UCF as a whole, we recognize that for all of you, not just you, but everybody, this is a very difficult transition, particularly because you're used to being on, a college campus. You're used to, the hustle and bustle of being in Orlando and the fun and parties and everything else. It's college. And so it's yes, I don't even like being at home myself. As you can see from my background, I am in my office. I would much rather be in my office on campus, not in my office at home. So I myself am struggling with being at home because it's different. But Justin, it is just something that we have to adjust to, and we don't know how long this is going to last. Unfortunately, we just have to make the most of what we have, and just know that Ross and I are here to support you. All right. So there are numerous different advantages and disadvantages to online coursework. Many of these we've already talked about, and because you are living this right now, I mean, you above anybody all know sort of the advantages and the disadvantages. The biggest predictor of success in an online class is simply self-discipline. And so many of your professors may not be as available as they would have been face-to-face. Some of your large lecture classes, your professors may post only Ross, what is it called? A video capture? When someone records a lecture?
Yeah.
The screen capture or video capture, something like that. And you may have always went to a face-to-face lecture, but if your professor posts lecture videos now, you have to be self-disciplined to actually watch the videos. And another challenge is that you can't ask questions real time. So now more than any is where you really have to start applying all the various different strategies that we've talked about. The SQ3R method, note-taking methods, studying methods, organization methods. I mean, again, all of this in the first half of the semester, I set you up for success. So self-discipline is important. All right. So as Brandon mentioned a few minutes ago, here in SLS 1501, you are also going to do an interesting facts debate. Now, the interesting facts debate was going to be face-to-face. Now the debate has a new format. But before Russ and I start discussing what this new format is, when you think about an interesting facts, what would be some examples of interesting facts? Just throw them out.
Something that creates conversation.
Yes, something that creates conversation, something fun, something exhilarating, exciting. So for this assignment, you're going to develop a 3-minute video submission of an interesting facts topic that Ross has already assigned for you. Go ahead, Ross.
Yeah. So, like Dr. Johnson said, I've already assigned you guys those topics, and I'll be getting you those. But for what this what a debate is, first off, is an organized argument or contest of ideas in which the participants discuss a topic from two opposing sides. And within that topic, there's a pro side and a con side. Pro being those who are for or agree with that statement, and con being against or do not agree with that statement. And specific to your topics that you'll be assigned, it might not be clear which side is necessarily pro or con, so I'll explain them as you get them. Or they might not necessarily even have a pro or con. It might be one or the other, so I'll explain them. But also, each side will give an organized and clever way where they kind of protrude how they see their answer is right. And most importantly, they'll be using examples and evidence. The biggest thing is going to be evidence here, because although this debate is going to be more interesting facts, not really a full-on hard factual debate, you're still going to want to make sure that you use evidence. So your learning objective, you guys hopefully all know it by now. You're going to be wanting to, or help you, it's going to kind of show you guys again and put into action how you'll be identifying and applying Bloom's taxonomy of critical thinking. As you guys know, Bloom's taxonomy is a framework for classifying and different ways of thinking. And each of Bloom's taxonomy levels categorizes how students process learned information. And okay, so how the specific debate, this one's gonna work is you'll be assigned your topic, which I'll get you guys soon. First, you're gonna introduce yourself in your topic, whether you're for and against it. Next, you're gonna argue 2 points. You're gonna argue 2 points for your assigned topic. So if you are for whatever your topic is, you start with that one, then give 2 points against that topic. And the reason that we're doing it like that is because unfortunately, it's not a face-to-face debate anymore. Therefore, we can't have that back and forth banter. So we'll kind of have you guys just doing it against yourself to at least somehow provide that. And then to wrap things up in your video, you're going to give a final argument promoting your side of the argument that you were assigned. So even though you just finished with for or against, you're just going to make sure you go back to the original one that you were assigned to. And once again, your video has to be 3 minutes.
Now I have a question in regards to that.
Yeah.
So could we do it as like, let's say we have an argument for it, and then right after we say the argument against it, and then like do that way, or would it have to just be drop the 2 points for and then the opposing points after?
Brandon, that is absolutely perfect.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
However way you all want to approach the debate is up to you. So you don't have to do the 2 fors and the 2 against. However way you structure it is up to you. You just want to make sure that you have introduced the topic and then argue 2 points for and then 2 points against, and then conclude with the final argument. Ross, I'm going to skip the video, but I'm going to post it on the assignment so they can see.
Okay, so here's your topics, guys. As you'll see, there's going to be your topic, and then under a red or blue subtopic. And the red is kind of the for, the blue is the against, although some of them don't necessarily have one. So topic 1, eat to live or live to eat. The eat to live side will be Adrian, Alexia, Jasmine, Kiana M, Schuler, and Victor. Live to eat, Daniela, Isaiah, James, Kayla, Najud, and Tyson. And for that topic, eat to live or live to eat, I think that's kind of self-explanatory. Do any of you guys in that topic have any questions on it?
Yeah, no, can you explain that? My bad.
Okay, so eat to live is saying, do you think that that food is made for you in order to order to live, or live to eat is kind of the enjoyment side? Do you eat food out of enjoyment, and do you quote unquote live to eat?
Gotcha.
Yeah. Topic 2, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Those that you'll be promoting the chicken will be Alan, Amber, Emin, Justin, Ronnie, and Tyler. And then the egg will be Divya, Donnie, Giovanni, Kiana W, Talia, and Thomas. Any questions on that one?
Yeah, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Just a personal question to you. Is it the chicken or the egg? Which one's first?
I'm not going to answer until
That's what you're debating.
Yeah, finish that assignment.
It's actually a very interesting topic because if you think about it, what did come first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah. But you guys will debate that with yourselves. And then the last topic is Disney Classics or Modern Pixar. Disney Classics will be Brandon, Fiorella, Haley, Llama, and Zachary. And then Modern Pixar will be Blake, Gilbert, Keanu, Lars, Nick, and Sarah.
I have a question.
Yes.
What if ultimately we prefer neither of them and prefer Studio Ghibli to both of them?
Just go with the one that you're assigned.
Okay. Also, my other question is, I know I'm on the side of Disney Classics. Would you give any tips for siding with this, even though I personally wouldn't pick Disney Classics over Modern Pixar?
Just make sure, again, you're finding good evidence then. Look for stuff like, if you watch my video that I posted, I think a lot of you guys will like the topic that I used. I use a lot of evidence that was based off of people who would know the topic best and what they said, as well as other like factually based, or at least mostly factually based, like excerpts or things that you find online. So for to promote your side, especially if you don't agree with it, just try to find anything that you can online that does promote it.
Yo, we don't gotta cite that, right?
You don't necessarily have to cite it like you would be in a paper, but if you just say from blankety blank website or person, then that'll be good.
Appreciate it.
So even if you don't agree, you have to speak as if you do agree with whatever topic you were given?
Yep.
Well,
Also,
in your, just to clarify, so in your concluding argument, that's where you can pick a side.
Yeah.
So you're going to argue for and against for your topic, but in your concluding statement, you're going to say, oh, you know, while I've argued both sides of the argument, I prefer Disney Classics because they're emotional, they're hand-drawn, the music is, you know, whatever. Does that make sense?
yes, thank you.
I have a question.
Yep.
So my topic is love to eat. I have to bring 2 points to support love to eat and 2 points against love to eat, right?
Yep.
Okay, good.
And then once again, just conclude with the one that you were assigned in your closing statement.
Okay.
Yeah, good question, Anju. And as Russ mentioned, you know, this is where now you're applying critical thinking skills. And so if you've ever participated in debate in high school or in other classes, well, that's exactly what you're doing. You're critically thinking about some topic, and then you're arguing for and against to that topic, and then making some type of concluding statement for that topic.
Are we gonna see each other's videos?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is individual to keep it simple. So whatever, the only person who will see it is me.
Good.
So you can say whatever you want.
Thank you.
It does not impact your grade. All right, so let's quickly go through this example. Does pineapples belong on a pizza?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
this is gonna be good.
Nah. Nope.
No.
What if you've
Y'all
never
some
had
haters. Y'all some haters.
If you haven't had it, don't try it.
All
Well,
right.
I'm allergic to pizza, so I can't try it. So I don't know what that tastes like.
It'll change your life if you try it.
I'll die too, so it will change my life. 'cause
Oh,
I'll be
yeah, you're right. You're right. Good point.
Your tongue will not forgive you for tasting it. Trust me.
Yeah, it is one of the best pizzas out there.
All right, so does pineapples belong on a pizza? So in your video, let's say I was doing a video and I'm going to say, my name is Dr. Johnson, and I'm arguing for and against the topic of pineapples belonging on a pizza. And so for the for side, just throw out some things. What would be some for pineapples belonging on a pizza?
It tastes good.
It tastes good.
LeBron said he liked it.
LeBron likes it. Keep going.
It makes the pizza sweet.
Fruit is
Pineapples
healthy.
are a healthy fruit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They are, yes. Anything else? So these are some things I came up with. So pineapples balanced out the salt and cheese with the sweet from the fruits. You can get your vitamin C and other nutrients. All of these you all just said as well. So 2 points for. Now, what would be some arguments against pineapples belonging on a pizza?
They're absolutely disgusting.
It's unnatural.
The
Disgusting.
flavors don't go together.
Yeah,
Weird.
pizzas aren't supposed to taste sweet. They're
Yeah, they're supposed to be savory.
Warm,
put
greasy
sardines on
fruit does
pizza.
not belong on pizza. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
Ramsey
put
says it's bad.
sardines on pizza, yet
and
pineapple's
plus-
a problem?
Those are acidic in a different way, and they can be cooked down. You don't do that with pineapple. That's immoral.
Besides, do you really want warm melting pineapples? Why not cold fresh
No.
pineapples? If you put it on pizza, it basically warms up, and that makes it not.
And I've tried it, so I'm not just saying that.
Excellent. So these are some things that I came up with. Pineapples are too tough. They're not a soft fruit. I think somebody just mentioned like it's tough. It's hard. Pineapples are good by themselves, but it's just not good on a pizza. And then some people may be allergic to pineapples and could get sick. So 2 points against. Then I wrap up this overall argument. So pizza is one of the most delicious foods that exists. In addition to it being ooey gooey and cheesy, it is very filling. However, after I have presented both sides of the argument, I am against pineapples belonging on a pizza. I just like plain cheese with lots of garlic. And that's an example of the 3-minute interesting facts video that you would do. Does that make sense?
Yes.
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 And have fun with this. I mean, obviously it would be better if it was face to face, but I've adjusted this assignment where, seriously, have fun with it. Don't overwhelm or stress yourself out. Have fun with this debate. All right. Any other questions about the debate? All right. And then finally, I know that there are some questions about the literature review paper. Are there any questions that you want to put out on the floor that I can answer for everybody?
What did you say?
Any questions about the literature review paper?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
So in the rubric, I read that it's supposed to be like a summary for my article in the body paragraph or something like that. I didn't understand.
Yes, and so I'm gonna look at the slide that I have up now. So again, your literature review paper is 5 pages, excluding the title page and the reference page. The title page is its own page, and you're gonna create a title, and that's gonna be your name, UCF, and my name. Then on the next page, you're gonna have an introduction. And so that introduction is 1 to 2 strong paragraphs. Why is this topic important to college students and student success and its importance? So 1 to 2 strong paragraphs. Now, Jude, the question about the summaries from the 3 worksheets that you previously did, that's this part, the 3 main themes or major points. And so this is what the meat of the paper is. And so in this section, this should be 3 to 4 pages. This is where you are discussing each of the research articles that you found. And so how you structure this is up to you. So you can say, in article 1 written by this person, this was the study, this is why it was important, this was the results, and this is how it's applicable, as an example. Or you might create subheadings or headings. So if one article was talking about, as an example, one article was talking about underage drinking, that would be one heading. If another article was talking about condom use, that would be another heading. If another article was talking about substance abuse, that would be another heading. So how you structure these 3 to 4 pages, the 3 main themes or major points, is up to you. But that's where you're summarizing and critically analyzing the articles that you found. And again, you don't have to do any more work. You've already done the work in the research summary worksheets. All you're doing is taking what you've previously written for each article, but now structuring it into a literature review paper. That doesn't mean you're simply copying and pasting from that document to the literature review. Now you have to analyze it, put it together. Does that make sense, Najud?
Yes, it makes sense. And there's something else that I supposed to use 2 articles to support my first topic or something like that. Because I found it in the outline when I tried to write it, that I used 2 articles for the first topic, 2 articles for the third and the second, and like that.
Are you asking, is that okay?
I asked if I can just use 1 article for my first paragraph, body paragraph.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I tried to use 2 articles in one, but I couldn't actually.
Yeah, no. Again, all you have to use is just your 3 articles. You don't have to use any more than that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions about the literature review paper? Haley just asked a good question. Last week I had a early April Fool's joke in there about there being a 15-page research paper. That's not a real, that was not a real assignment. That was only a joke. The real assignment is the literature review paper. Yes, good clarification question, Haley. All right, Llama, I saw your question about the due date for the interesting facts debate. I need to look back at the syllabus to see what date I'll put on there. And I'll update this slide. All right, so for Wednesday, we're gonna push forward into chapter 6, talking about career planning. We may get to financial planning. And then Ross is going to model the elevator pitch, which we will talk about as well. Your GPA calculation worksheet and chapter 5 assignments are due tonight. Otherwise, any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
I can't see like the in-text feedback from the research summary worksheets. I don't know why.
Hold tight and then don't exit our Zoom. I'm gonna do an office hour with you.
Okay, thank you.
So don't exit out. Otherwise, let me make sure. Blake said, what is the literature review module? That assignment is posted already. It's a module that just introduces you to how to write a literature review paper. So when you click on assignments, it should show up in upcoming assignments too. All right, anybody else? I know we're a few minutes over. All right, I think that is it, everybody. Ross, don't hang up. If you need to talk to me about anything, just send me an email and I will respond. Otherwise, everybody, that's it. Exit.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Bye,
Stay
everybody.
safe.
Jasmine, you needed help, right?
Yes.
Tyson and Zach are oh nope, just Tyson's in here now too. Oh, there we go.
Perfect. All right. Wait a minute.